LeBron James and his LA Lakers were sent packing in the first round of the NBA playoffs this season, and it got me thinking. Perhaps the Lakers organization would benefit from having a more racially balanced team on the court rather than one that is not truly representative of America. Of the 17 players on the Lakers, as far as I can tell, only one of them could be classified as white. None of them are Asian. Only one seems to be Hispanic, and he's from Spain. Now, given the underrepresentation of white players, it would be logical to assume the Lakers or the NBA is discriminating against them based on race. The league should address this inequality with deliberate speed. And perhaps corporate sponsors should think twice about supporting organizations like the NBA and many of its teams who appear to have a pattern of racial bias. Now, certainly LeBron and many of the Lakers players are talented, but ethnic diversity, we are told, is what makes any organization a real success. Maybe a player scoring system like the Academy Awards has, that's based on a range of a bunch of qualities that have absolutely nothing to do with athletic ability, but will help ensure diversity, could be considered. Now, sure, there's some diversity in the coaching and the front office staff, but it's the players that are the true representation of the team's values to the public and therefore should reflect America. It wouldn't be difficult, though it would necessitate establishing strict quotas for appropriate racial balance and a system of preferences to ensure whites and other ethnicities are represented on the team. LeBron James has become a powerful voice in the inclusion movement. He has said that racial injustice, quote, remains a part of everyday life in America and cannot be ignored. And while other teams in the NBA and other professional sports exhibit the same apparent anti-white bias, because of James's leadership on this issue, his team should be the first to be a model for inclusion. The Lakers need a real effort here to ensure that marginalized groups are reflected in the team's lineup and create a system that would ensure white players a minimum amount of playing time. This, of course, might necessitate players like LeBron being benched in favor of others, but each race deserves their chance equally, regardless of ability. Diversity and inclusion in the NBA, Major League Baseball, and the NFL and other team sports is important to send a message to young white kids that if they work hard, they too can make it in the big leagues. Of course, folks, I'm just kidding. If this all sounds ridiculous, it's because it is. Very loud voices in America today believe that skin color should be a guide for staffing and advancement. They also freely believe that just because a team, a boardroom, an executive lounge, or some other institution lacks some arbitrary level of representation by one group or another, that it is, in fact, the result of the evil of racism, irrespective of facts to support that. So then again, maybe we should be sticking to placing ability, hard work, and content of character over color of skin whenever we can. I seem to recall a very wise American saying that. Black lives do matter, Mr. James, but perhaps on your team all lives should matter. Perhaps an obsession with diversity, equity, and inclusion is more a pathology than a prescription for a better society. Enjoy the off-season, LeBron.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.